Deebo had a great game last week, so let's really overreact. Is he the toughest matchup for cornerbacks in the NFL? Deebo Samuel.
I think I proposed this question correct.
So you answered first.
I said that, or I thought it was a question. I'm not saying he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. That's not what.
Defend this question right now.
Yeah. So it's not to say he's the best, but I think he is a very hard receiver to guard just because of the way he gets the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and it's hard to prevent an incompletion on him. True. So he then has the ball, and we've seen he is one of the best players with the ball in his hands in the NFL. So I think that does make him very hard to defend. Tyreek Hill, though, is the hardest player in the NFL to defend just because what he did to Tampa Bay last week, that can happen any play. And the Niners learned firsthand it's really hard to keep Tyreek Hill in your grasp at all times. But I'd say Deebo is definitely top 3 hardest receivers to defend just because of the way it's impossible to keep him out of the catch column.
I really like this question, Maverick, and I agree with it. If you go back and watch what the Rams defense did against the Seahawks wide receivers the last time they matched up, they blanketed DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They were non-factors. Of course, they're 2 very good receivers, so they're going to have their moments over the course of a 60-minute period. But when the Rams play Deebo Samuel, their secondary doesn't have to cover. They have to come up and tackle because of the way he gets the ball. So because of that, when you think about cornerbacks, they take pride in their ability to cover. They don't take as much pride, I should say, most of the time in their ability to come up and make tackles. That's not really what cornerbacks are paid for. Yes, it's part of their job, but Deebo Samuel and the way he gets the ball, it's an extension of a handoff. So I do agree that it's a matchup nightmare for opposing corners, and I don't think there's any corner that wants to go up against Deebo Samuel because your responsibility isn't necessarily to cover him, but to tackle him. And that's no fun with the way he plays the game and how physical he is.
I'm going to change it up a little bit based off of the way that the question is. And I'm going to say that I think Brandon Ayuk is the tougher of the 2 receivers to cover. I think that as a playmaker, though, Deebo is definitely a guy that it's hard for the defense as a whole to plan for because they can do so many different things. Where's he going to go on any different play? There's just so many different things that they can do with him that he opens up so much else with his, when they run those little swing things, that opens up everything down the field. That's what we saw in the 4th quarter with Shanahan and the second last drive of the game is that kind of stuff. So that's where the difference is. And I agree with both Mav and Nick, though. Those DBs don't want to have anything to do with Deebo once he gets the ball and starts running at him.
This is an interesting question. And you guys have made a really good argument for why it's him. I mean, really, you could have the best cover corner in the league, put him on him, and Deebo could get 100 yards without really beating him on a route, just like running screens and stuff. But look, and this is a wide receiver I couldn't stand coming out. But I got to say, what DK Metcalf did to the Niners, I know you can slow down DK Metcalf. I'm sure you can slow down Deebo Samuel as well. But what the Niners are going to have to do over the next couple of years just to match up with DK Metcalf is kind of dramatic. I mean, I think they're going to have to draft players specifically to match up with someone that big and strong. I don't know if the Seahawks are going to actually have to draft players to match up with Deebo, although you could argue that they both make equal impacts. The guy in Tennessee is so good too, and they all came out in the same draft. But there's something about DK, just his size. You can't put any corner on him. Even an excellent 5'10" corner could be right there in his pocket and get beat. So maybe that one too, because both with Deebo and DK, with Deebo, you don't even get an opportunity to guard him. He already has the ball. With DK, you could have great coverage and still get beat. Those are tough matchups.